Hi guys and welcome back to the Bike Cave. If you are an older subscriber of the channel, you may have seen my two older videos with a similar title, and so you may already know that I always try to get the most I can out of my rims. Today I have another rim to save after stepping on it while bailing. Long story short, the incident you're about to witness took place last year while I was training on this rocky spot, and while I was training this gap, I had to bail, but I stepped on my front wheel during the process. It was so unfortunate as this was a freshly built wheel, and that day it was the first time I was riding it. After stepping on the rim, it got so buckled that it couldn't even roll. However, after examining the rim up close, I noticed that it hadn't been cracked and everything was still intact. If you remember a similar video I released a couple of years ago, I tried to save another rim that I had stepped on, but I failed as it was a factory built wheel, and so spoke nipple washers hadn't been used to strengthen the rim. As a result, some of the nipple holes of the rim had been cracked, and so the rim was destined to fail. However, this time I had built this wheel myself, and so I had used spoke nipple washers, resulting to zero cracked nipple holes on the rim after stepping on it, although it had been seriously buckled. So despite the fact that I was quite unlucky buckling a brand new rim, I'm quite confident that I will be able to save this one and make it once again as good as new. Before I show you how I'm planning to repair this buckled rim, we have to discuss a bit on why you shouldn't try to throw such a buckled wheel using just the conventional method of tensioning the spokes. So, after stepping on my wheel, the rim has been buckled, and this is the reason that my wheel is now out of true. If I were to make it true by tensioning the spokes, it would mean that at the buckled area, the spoke tension would be so unbalanced that it would compromise both the stability and the sturdiness of the wheel for the sake of trueness. More specifically, the one side of the wheel will be excessively tensioned to counteract the buckling of the rim, and the other side will be almost loose. This would put the area of the spoke holes of the overtension side in so much stress that would directly affect the safety and the life expectancy of the wheel. As I've mentioned before, a well-built wheel is one that is true while the spoke tension is constant across the spokes of each side of the hub. If the wheel cannot be true while keeping roughly the same tension for each set of spokes, it would show that the rim is problematic, just like in this one that I stepped on. Okay, we've got it that there is nothing that we can actually do in order to make this wheel true and well tensioned as is right now. So, what can we do to save it? Given that the hub is okay and no spoke holes have been cracked on this rim, it shows that it's very close to its mint condition, although it's a bit buckled. So, in order to save it, the best I can do is to disassemble it and try to bend the rim back to its initial true state. This will ensure that after rebuilding the wheel, it will be made true without excessively tensioning some of the spokes. So after taking everything apart, I used my plyometrics box as a flat reference surface so as to compare the buckled rim against and decide on how to bend it to make it true again. This process took me a while as I didn't want to rush it and make it more buckled than before. So I was rocking the rim on the flat surface to check out the areas that the buckling started and to assess where I had to press to bring it back to true. After a while, I had brought the rim to an acceptable level of trueness, and so I was so happy that I managed to save it. Next, it was time to rebuild the wheel using of course the custom Xi Cycling spoke nipple washers, as these were the reason that this wheel had been saved in the first place. This was a quite easy and fast wheel build, as the spokes are readily arrayed, and so after a while, it was once again well built and true. Also, checking the tension of the spokes, there was no issue of over-tension spokes along the perimeter of the rim, and this makes this wheel as good as new. I'm so happy with how this one turned out, as I finally managed to save this wheel that have been ridden just once. This saved wheel has been already installed on my GC Varial, as the wheel that I had up to now probably needs a similar treatment, as there is a slightly buckled area that cannot be saved via conventional tensioning without affecting the stability of the wheel. Be sure that I'm going to also share it with you guys if there is anything worth mentioning while fixing this one. But I'd like to know if you had faced any similar situation in the past, and what did you do after you buckled your wheel? Did you try to save it, or did you replace it right away? I'll wait your response in the comment section below. That's it for today's video, and I really hope that you liked this one. Also, if you found it helpful, you can share it and help others that may want to save a buckled wheel. Thank you so much for subscribing and watching, and until next time, have fun riding your bikes and make sure that your bikes are well maintained. Bye!